Tensions rise for the final day here of week number 4 as TSM looks to defend the kingdom that they've been creating at the top of the table, and some of the big 5 not having the easiest of weeks. Welcome back to the analysis desk, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kyle Laris, and to my left-hand side, it's Froz, it's Avenger, gentlemen. I feel like the TVs are a little bit louder out there than they normally are, and I can hear myself quite interestingly. But there you go. That's how it's going to go for today. We're going to be fine. Obviously, the final day of the week. It's very, very important for teams to get themselves back on the road.
Yeah, I mean, one team that has been stepping up enormously this week is NIP, currently sitting on the first place for the weekend overall, but still one day to go. FaZe just behind there, and G2 as well. G2 has been doing really good.
NIP, as you said, 96 points in 2 days. This is really impressive. The 9.6 average per game, one of the highest we've seen so far. I hope they can continue this throughout the day and maybe make a new record for the week.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we're going to see that, and NIP is going to kind of solidify themselves in the top.
TSM currently have 64 points, though. They were the only team up until this weekend that been crushing that 100-point mark every weekend.
Yeah.
Now they're sitting on 64, so they need another 36 points to be able to crush that mark again. And I mean, they had 36 points the first day, 28 yesterday. Now it's time to get another 36 at least.
Definitely so. And obviously for TSM, it must be even a very liberating feeling, I suppose, to be at the top of the table relative to the constant state of 5th place that they were in throughout Phase 2. Let's take a look at how things have shaped up here throughout the phase as a whole, as we do have a little bit of moving about here, 9th through 16th, and big moves from teams like Raise Your Edge and GamerLegion that have not had the best weeks whatsoever.
Yeah, pretty rough weeks, but
Thanks
I mean,
for agreeing for us.
that happens. We know that Raise Your Edge had a terrible week so far. I think they're 11 points overall in, 11 games. That's not where you want to end up on. At the same time, you can have some rough days from time to time.
Definitely so, and as Martin mentioned earlier, NIP here has had a furious week so far with 6 placement moved, and overall
this is for both weeks, so this is last week included because we have 198 points from NIP, so it was with last week and this week so far included.
I've been baited.
Yeah, so
anyway.
it's both. No matter what, you can still see the tendencies that have moved out throughout these 2 last weeks here.
One thing to put your eyes on for today, I'd say, is Team Liquid and G2 though. Look at the differential there. It's only 4 points out. Remember, Liquid, they had a good lead there down to G2, but G2 yesterday with 54 points and Liquid with only 4 points. That's what's making this happen right now.
Yeah, definitely so. I do want to go back to the NIP here for a moment though, because the end that they had yesterday was absolutely phenomenal. They had a win, and then a 3rd place off the back of that as well. As of course we will have Miramar, Sandhawk, and Erangel. Yesterday, Sandhawk and Erangel was dominated by NIP, and it was a great showing from them.
It was a fantastic showing. I was happy to see them step up like they did. They were happy and laughing yesterday as well. Also on Miramar, an 8th place with 4 kills going into that. So overall, a very respectable showing from these guys yesterday. I hope to see it continue today. I
mean, we also saw NIP actually grabbing a lot of points the first day here for this weekend. But at the same time, they didn't get any podium finishes. The best position they had was a 4th place, except for that it was basically double-digit more or less. But they got a lot of kills, and that put them up there.
Also nice yesterday, 3 second places. No chicken dinners, but 3 second places, very respectable. Also 50 points for those guys. So they're trying to kind of keep holding on to being close to being in the top 6.
And here we got M47 still chasing for that chicken dinner. We saw them yesterday. 2 3rd places. On the first day as well, they had a 2nd place. They just can't close it out right now. They need that little last push to actually win the game.
What's it down to? Why can they not close these games out? Is it just a little bit of unluckiness? What are we putting this down to?
I mean, at this point, when we're going to start our 56th match now, right? It's becoming a kind of a joke now, right?
They're good. It's not like they can't.
No,
I absolutely believe they can.
If they're 16th place, I was like, yeah, you know, there's a lot of stuff wrong here. But they're playing extremely well. Their macro game is on point. Their mid game, their rotations are on point. Their kills, everything is on point. But they're just not closing it out. And I wouldn't say it's not because they're not just winning, but it's often, and I've seen them multiple times and I've noticed, it's because they're not making the game-winning move, but they're making a move for them to make sure that they get a lot of points. And they frag out on the edge as well.
We saw him yesterday, though. In one of the Miramar games, they were going for the game-winning move. They had Ivor going for the tractor in the center there. while T-Bone was going on the north side trying to rotate. They didn't have any smokes, and that's why they had to make such a play and try to make something happen. But at the same time, T-Bone, they only have 3 bullets left in his SLR. They were up against ENCE that we just saw there as well. And also, they had Pittsburgh Knights in the game as well. I think it was Reels that was the last man standing, snaking around.
Yeah, he's doing the little hot, I believe. Yeah, played that game extremely well as well.
Talk to me about Miramar. We're about a minute out of the game. What are your thoughts coming in today?
Well, we just saw ENCE on the screen. I want to shortly talk about them as well. Sure. Yesterday and the day before, they managed to get 63 points. If they continue this path, it's looking like to be their best week so far, which is kind of worrying, of course, but I hope to see them continue that, and I hope to see them kind of rise to the occasion.
Let's be honest, we always say that FaZe weakest map is Miramar. They showed us this weekend, 1 win every day on Miramar. It's going to happen here today again.
And it was the first game of each day as well, and very importantly. So maybe they can continue on that kind of trend here. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen at home as well, you can send us your questions. Get involved on Twitter. Use the hashtag AskPEL, and we'll be able to answer some of those throughout the show, throughout the day, etc. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. It's time. It's going to be game number 56 as we head to the desert. It's time for Miramar, and it's time for Rich and Demon.
Thank you very much, guys. So here we go once again. Oh, I've got a little, let's move my mic away from my face. I'm blowing you all out of the water straight away. It's not a good plane. Oh, it's not too bad. Okay, it's not too bad. Most people can long drop it. Like, so I'm thinking FaZe, Monte Nuevo, it's good two grids away, so it's a relatively long drop. We are seeing GamerLegion making the adjustments based off it. FaZe making adjustments off it as well, actually. Probably going to be grabbing vehicles in and around Trailer Park and going straight down south. See if there's anyone else that's going to make a change. Maybe 7, I mean, it's pretty much jumping straight into their territory. A team that I want to focus on, and obviously the desk alluded to it just a moment ago with the scores, etc., is obviously Team Liquid. A 4-point day is simply unacceptable for those guys. And I spoke to James and Ibby about it, and I just said, you know, it'd be very hard to have a worse day than that for themselves. Obviously, we saw Razor Edge doing that with a 1-point day on day 1, but for a team like Team Liquid, a team that you expect to be challenging for that #1 spot, it was a horrible day. And the fact is, one more bad game here, we could see NIP in 6th place passing them.
When you say it's unacceptable, it's because we, not only as casters, but people in the PUBG Esports circuit who knows what's going on, who watch the games, who enjoy the esport as itself, we hold them to a higher standard because we know absolutely what this team is capable of, especially from an individual point of view. We say it's unacceptable. I think to them it will be unacceptable. There'll be a few choice words that will have been said yesterday.
The Avengers shirts have gone out the window. Not one of them's coming in with it now. They're just like, that's it. That was bad luck for us.
One of them had, you know, you look at Avengers, it's more NA based. We look at NA players.
They said we can't wear Captain America shirts when we're Europeans.
I'm just throwing a bit of. I'm only joking because 17's out there. Don't get your knickers in a twist.
If I'm not mistaken, this is the birthday boy. Mistaken.
I heard people saying
Uber.
happy birthday.
I did hear a happy birthday.
I think it was Uber. Well, we think it was Uber. It was a bit of a noise, wasn't it? More of a
bit of a din while we were in here. We were prepping and doing, and a lot of happy birthday being sung. I'm pretty sure they said Uber at the end of it.
Circle has been favourable to FaZe, and the only reason I say this is we are going to see if they can pick up another Miramar win to open up the day. So far, they've got 1 back-to-back. It's been pretty good. Froz was speaking how usually this would be the lower rated map, their not preferred platform, but so far it's kind of fared really well from them so far throughout the week. Day #1, top in the charts with 49 points. Yesterday, 40 points, 4th place. They're having an absolute bonfire of a season so far, to be honest, with this whole entire phase. 410 points is pretty damn good. Na'Vi trailing behind by 30, or just under 30. 264 kills in total. You really can't argue it, and it's another team that we would be expecting to play to that level of standard, so it's good to see. G2, a little bit of a slip here and there has cost them some points.
Big game finish yesterday, though. 27-point game.
I'm glad you touched on it, because I honestly think, I haven't done the complete math, but they may have been dropped out of the top 5.
That saved them.
To NIP. That did give them such a huge buffer.
Before that final match, because NIP obviously won 2 games back-to-back. Before that final match, NIP had actually passed them, but yeah,
I like the fact that Ninjas have done well, because it now throws another team into contention for that top. We keep saying top 6, the big 5, as we like to allude. But I think it just throws another bit of excitement into the whole league, and when another team starts to feel it and get on fire, especially when they find their real stride and groove, it only makes everyone else and forces them to have to step up. Liquid
it's a good
have
response.
to step up if they want to keep security on that top 5 finish.
I mean, obviously in the previous 2 phases, we've had TSM and NIP both knocking on the door of like 4th, 5th, etc. It's good to see. Obviously, TSM have responded and they've stepped it right up, and now NIP are in turn responding and saying, "Hang on a minute, we want to be in that top 5 scrim as well." So they've put the pressure on. We'll see whether it works out. G2 were obviously the team that felt the pressure, and with the changes, we weren't sure maybe the honeymoon period have fell out the window. But looking at this circle, it's very familiar. Obviously, it's pretty much what we had in day 1 this week, where FaZe picked themselves up the win above G2 and TSM on the crater, or just sort of east of the crater wall, really. Basically, everyone was in La Cabrera. It was a horrible mess, and I'm sure some of these teams are going to be thinking back to that game, repositioning based off it. I'm wondering whether we're going to have a similar type of circle. FaZe, of course, dropped in and around here. CrowCrowd, etc., just need to make the way north from El Pozo. You can see the Knights were repositioning, just coming out down from Power Grid. All these teams are obviously nearby. It's a case of where anyone's going to go from here. And NIP coming out of San Martin. Looks like they're happy to take a fairly eastern compound. Bit of shots going off between GamerLegion and CrowCrowd. While Team Liquid, they're actually pretty late. Look at this, 5 minutes 15 coming out of Picardo. It's a pretty late rotation for the Blue Boys. Maybe that's what one of the changes they've decided on. Maybe they're thinking, hang on a minute, our very early central posting is kind of being countered and everybody else is doing it, so we're going to have to adjust. They did the same in Phase 2, if you remember. They had to make adjustments based off teams copying their tactics.
Everyone's centralizing on this, and again, it's because we have that weird and wonderful ridge line, kind of with a bit of the hook on the bottom of it, which can cause problems and is going to bounce this circle around.
I like the thinking, actually. Look, this is unusual for Team Liquid to see them going over so far. They're basically going fully over to the western side, almost into the unplayable area, the crossroads at the moment, just outside Pozo. And they're just assuming, like, anyone that was over there, they've all centered. So this is going to be free territory on this left-hand side, which makes sense because the plane path, of course, was pretty much across Alcantara, down Pozo, and then almost down to Porto Paraiso. It was a cut across the map. So nobody down Valdomar, nobody coming from the south, apart from M47 and ENCE, who are on the long rotate.
Usually a team that likes to come in a little bit later. We understand that. The problem is sometimes it does cost them their life. Found out in a really open position with not much cover, it has cost them. And time again, we kind of see N47 on these southern scuffles where teams will like to arrive a little bit later to the party. I'm intrigued to see where DA actually pulls up. They have just made an entry point to the circle all the way down south, and by doing so may cause problems long term for any other teams that like to claw forward. Jimbo takes a couple of bullets. He is going to continue onwards. Has to be careful that Fuzz will have the information. There is a player lingering out in the open. Maybe get a few more down. And again, just sending one player off like this, it's not too bad because you can scout out and look for a better position. He is extremely, extremely disconnected from the rest of the team, so if he goes down, he will know in his own mind that he is a dead man. There's no res coming off the back of that. In these scenarios, you have to be aware of, am I going to put my teammates out of position? What can they do off the back of this? Because if they go for the res, it will expose them. So I'm hoping there is some method to this madness, that he is communicating with the Liquid boys and saying, okay, this is where people are, this is what we need to be doing. He's kind of the lamb to the slaughter, feed this information back to the rest of the roster to set up and await this next circle.
Surprised. And again, think back to day 1. Nobody has gone La Cabrera. Not one team is remotely across the road from La Cabrera. They're all saying this is going to go south. We're not going to get caught out in that horribleness that is La Cabrera. Razor Edge and NIP, a lot of fire exchange between them and Seven as well, all clustered around the edges of Crater. Just saw GamerLegion losing one player there. Mac and Dark going down early to Na'Vi, who themselves hold this wall. Team Liquid continuing their rotate, by the way. They're now almost just to the east of Alcantara, continuing around. They may actually go to the hillside outside of La Cabrera.
I'm fine with what they're doing because we know it will not go near that wall. It always bounces away. I've never seen an Alcantara ending because you have that wall that essentially acts as water. It will eventually pull from it. So pretty much that entire western road is out of boundaries. Once you do come further down, you hit the crossroads. We have had circles end there, so it's not a bad place. If you're going to be N47 and really didn't go any deeper.
That's 2 down. GamerLegion, not a good start.
How have they been doing so far? They've had 2 13th finishes back-to-back, haven't they?
Yeah, and then it's kind of fell off. Wow, okay.
That's an interesting
That's a shift.
one.
I mean, it's on back onto the crater again, and Team Liquid are loving it. Loving it. That rotation has worked out well for them. Obviously, look at the cluster all around the southeast. You're going to have to reposition, go round, go north. You can see Razor Edge, G2, NIP all thinking, okay, this is going to have to be a northern swing for us. TSM looking to do the same. Meanwhile, down the south, you've got Desperado's Reciprocity. Obviously, N47 and ENCE, who are both just come into the circle out of the blue. Some big rotates going to happen here.
FaZe have been really proactive and quite clever about this scenario. They're doing the same thing as what they did yesterday in their win, where they're taking a very prime position for where circles like to end, but they're doing a 2-2 split amongst it. So they're taking a bigger land grab. Yes, this will be a bit advantageous should a team pull up on you. You're going to be in a 4 versus 2 scenario, but now they can just bottleneck any players that want to run the road and get this way. They can keep people at arm's length by long-distance fire.
Reels has just been left. That was up and over a board there. I mean, there's only 2 members of GamerLegion there, but obviously when you're driving straight into them, Wanted will get caught out. Reels is going to get a nice response. He's had a cracking weekend so far, Reels, picking up a lot of kills.
I don't think he'll push it just for the simple fact he doesn't know what else is left over there.
Bleed out. Oh, Reels stole it. Reels. Oh no, didn't tell a lie. No, Aitzy took him down.
Reels. Okay.
Oh dear.
So he's been backburning and hearing where those bullets are coming from and just lingering. They know they're in a really good spot. And
let's put the Knights in crater, in the open crater fields. That's not good.
No, it isn't, because we're probably not going to get anything there. It depends. Again, the circle might be favourable to them in the fact that it disallows any teams sitting on the southern side. They'd only have to have the north to deal with. But they were here, if you remember, versus NIP versus other teams. They committed to this, and it essentially put them. It's their grave. If you stay here, you can't for the next circle. You don't really want to be here.
This fight happening in La Cabrera to the teams that did decide to commit to it was G2 and NIP, and this nade could be a double if he lands it right, but they've managed to avoid the damage. Back away straight away. Yannis on the push there. Braexco trying to collapse around him, but Miraku and MBS are very much caught in a horrible position back against these big walls that are around La Cabrera. They were caught out in this same situation. Miraku's cooking now, hasn't it? Cheeky underhand, but he's already backed away from it. Read the situation, heard the pin pull, and instantly backed away. Interesting though, but NIP do have 2 the other side of the road. Chris is nearby to them, and NELLOZ manages to land it. Now he's got to be careful when he's trying to flush this one because he knows there's another around the corner, but it's going to be a simple one on Miraku. There is the second push. MBS trying to get them both down, but the double push worked out well in the end.
I'm surprised he didn't go for the body block, but it doesn't matter whatsoever. Really good push by them to be able to throw more bodies in. You
big
get the
points.
repeat.
Big points battle between 4th and 5th there.
Yeah, when you're talking about what's been going on over the last few days, for sure. Chris can now, I wonder if he's actually opened fire onto these boys and they know where he is. I'm intrigued. We don't know yet if has shown himself, so he can kind of gatekeep them if they want to get overzealous and maybe make some sort of wild push. You wouldn't be going any further north, so there's no reason to go over to where G2 are. The molly, if he throws it, yep, okay, his presence has been known. That might just be some means for him to rotate, draw their attention, maybe disallow movement. Who knows? Circle shall update. We'll go central. So at the moment, FaZe Clan, between FaZe and Na'Vi, these are your real strong points. Again, inside the crater fields, not the best place to be in the world, but the fact that they can really move off the snaking road off the back of it, potentially hope for a hard shift comes their way. Disallow people coming out of the crater field.
Desperado's M47.
Disallow anyone coming out of La Cabrera, maybe even TSM to a bigger extent. They can really control and drive which way teams move on the eastern side.
So these 2 teams, they've both rotated deep south at one point. And actually, if they continue, they've got to be careful the third party doesn't come in from obviously FaZe Clan down below, but also Reciprocity are driving in right behind them as well at the moment, coming out of the blue. So they may get involved in this one. Jempty gets a bit of third party action there across the valley, taking shots on them and stealing them away as well. as we see SIMSY down. Ultra needs a revive. And this is not gone as planned for either team, I don't think, here. TomiL's the man offering the overwatch from far away, but I think DESPERADO's going to have to back away from this one.
Helmet's gone as well, so he can't take another fight. Otherwise, he will be hitting the deck.
TomiL hears and sees reciprocity. You can see them on the minimap just coming into the trailer park area. Now, they've took shots from Team Liquid, so they're going to pull up as well.
I'm intrigued to know if this is actually going to be a really committing to this push. He is down utility, and they've already used a few grenades while doing so. So maybe the push isn't really worth it.
Well, they don't have the cover fire either anymore because TomiL's having to keep an eye on reciprocity.
And they can get out the top windows, the little doorway, which leads them onto that, if you want to call it a balcony, so to speak, top of the flat top roof. And they can just shoot down upon them. The bars will give them a level of defense. They can head peek it.
TSM are on a rotate over on the eastern side. They are pushing around Crater Fields. Now, the problem is that they are heading for that hillside, and ENCE are there. They've just scouted it out. Really not too many options. The problem is once you're in the crater, everybody can see you. Talking about reciprocity and raise your edge now as SKUIJKE finds himself a point. He'd be delighted with that. Getting his first point on the board today. That is something big for a team that's been seriously struggling over the last 2 days. Minox, who wasn't happy with me yesterday, because I said I'm not too sure what he's smiling about. He's like, hey.
I mean, they should be smiling now. By that one single kill, they've actually got joint points what they did on day number 1 of this week.
Day one, yeah. And it was SKUIJKE got that point as well.
You've got to be happy. There needs to be confidence. There needs to be mentality amongst the rosters. You already saw yesterday, mxey was hugging his teammate. All laughs and smiles. You need that. Okay, that's 2 on the board. We're getting there, boys. We keep it going. Keep it rolling.
A flu hug. A flu hug.
Is that what it was? Just try and share
I said, you all need hugs. He's like, I'm available. You want a hug? I'm like, you've got the flu. I don't really fancy it.
All right, this is for me a FaZe circle. This is a big one because we've moved from crater. Pozo isn't within sight. 2 further down the field, you have the rocks on the back of this road, which kind of flood it down. All these players will have to come out of the trailer park. There is a very small chance that it could go still towards the trailer park. Where Ibiza is on the map, sometimes we do get circles that just run off the back and trickle down the hillside. But generally speaking, we should be looking somewhere, ironically, where FaZe Clan is. Between them and Team Liquid right now, they control the road. Everyone essentially has to come down. You can see on your screens, it's very rough terrain. You can have a lot of veins on the mountainside. You can have a lot of vehicles that are going to be going up and over. I'd expect to lose 5 or 6 people potentially on transition. Going in an open road, boys, it's never going to end well.
Well, G2, they got all 4 members of NIP there, didn't they? Because they took the other 2 down. It's NELLOZ collects himself the 2 from the smoking vehicle. TSM, Na'Vi all on joint rotations, but where the hell are they going to go? There's not too many options.
That was a drive-by.
This is the ditch here.
That's a freaking drive-by. He got 2 players.
He hopped in the passenger seat, took them both down.
Holy hell, Best. That's a play and a half.
I'd love to see.
If someone could get the Na'Vi POV and see that, that's a switch, taking out 2 players from a vehicle in the back seat. That's insanity.
ENCE pulled up on DA as well in the background. Some big plays coming out from players as you'd expect as they go for the push. miikaz, I was talking to SKUIJKE saying it's starting to look good for you guys, and it absolutely is. There's the double push. The Beautiful Death will get 2 down in that push. It was actually FaZe that took him down. Right? It wasn't ENCE. It was FaZe that took him down. Otherwise, ENCE would have lost 2 in that push. They got saved by FaZe.
Potential here, Chris does bleed out. Smokes will be up and they'll commit the utility on the side of Liquid. Try and get their fallen player down. Jemty's doing as hard as he can to body block. And now for the Smokes, well, they didn't save him, but they'll at least give him time to get his gear. That's what you need to do and make use of this when you've already committed the utility. So you might as well stay there, pick up whatever Jeems has got left on his corpse. The boys from TSM, you just saw them. They lost 2 on rotation from that huge play from bestelotch on the drive-by. He is still alive and kicking in the background. A team that might not be is the Knight. Straight and last man standing. Instantly cleaned up by Edelweiss. Where are they? Okay. They're outside the circle. They're in rough terrain. Circle probably going to be going down against them. If he can sneak a few kills here and there off 7, that'll be the best he can really do. But for me, top 10 might be as far as they're going.
James just been sniped down as well. I wonder if he's managed to make it back. He was in that smoke picking up James's gear, if you last remember. Razor Edge are pushing on it. They're in the vehicles. They're going straight across over to Team Liquid. They're crossing the valley. And I wonder if the Continental's just spun his car.
Spun the car, right?
he was the lead charger, and you just see him spin. He's like, whoops. But now they're going. Okay, Continental, he's in the buggy. It's all good. He's back over this time. Now, what sort of third party can happen? G2 are down low. Team Liquid realize they're getting pushed on. They have managed to get Jemty back on his feet, so that knock has been quickly resuscitated. But there's NELLOZ. We were talking about G2. Could they cause problems? They do get the backstab, and Team Liquid lose another.
It's kind of because of Lynx's position. The fact that he's gone further up to the hill to deny that angle, it does force them back and pushes them essentially into NELLOZ's open arms. They've taken so much control here of Razor Edge. It's a beautiful push. Molly, you called it. It goes in. It spreads on wood. This causes them problems again because now they might be open to NELLOZ. One lucky grenade or two could do all kinds of damage if it's cooked and goes inside the building because there's 3 of them in there.
If they can hit that back wall, Jemty's done.
They were going through the vertical, right?
Yeah, the vertinade in it. There was a back wall there as well. Going to peek around the side. They see one. Hello?
Oh,
he's to the left. He's to the left. Oh, they're finally coming in and support. And Razor Edge, 6 points, ladies and gentlemen. They've matched and smashed their record for points.
Need to let it be known as well, the vertinade worked. They did throw it up high. It came down like a rocket and took out that player on the backside. That was at least a bit of a cleanup. So there was no... the bigger part is the fact that they didn't lose SIMSY on that push there. Like, if he would have done...
G2 are on them. G2 are pushed right on them. Look at them on your screen here. Braexco. As soon as mxey comes around, he's not expecting it. Yeah, instant headshot. But now, don't forget, Lynx is off position. It might catch them off guard here. But I think Braexco just realized it. Sees him, comes around, but Lynx is there. SIMSY's coming in to try and save the day on mxey. He will be able to get the revive in. And G2 are down to 1, I believe, in this push now. With the second man down. 7 are out in no man's land. They're trying to get themselves back in, but CrowCrowd and Na'Vi have been taking pot shots at them the entire way as they try and come around. Sadovnik, the last man standing, he's going head-to-head with Misa, who jumps out of the vehicle. Now where's he going? Nowhere. In the end, I think he hit a ditch. Oh, dear.
Yeah, that's not good. Razor Edge do get themselves back to 4, and it comes off the back of Lynxy holding that cross angle. Caldermenta takes the back cabin, which essentially gives G2 only 1 point of attack. By doing so, they're back to a full 4-man roster. Lynxy again, the movement here of moving from back to 4th and just watching this hillside, it's really stopping G2 getting any advancement on this. If Caldermenta strikes with a good grenade or even just a quick peek over onto one of them and takes them out, any headshot would do here and really buy them time.
Desperados, they've been waiting, they've surrounded, and they've finally moved on N47. It's took them, what, 3 circles, I believe it is, to finally make that move count. It leaves T-Bone, the last man, standing in there. Meanwhile, the new boys for G2, NELLOZ and Yannis, looking to flank around. I'm not too sure this is a bit too risky.
Lynxy was watching it, but now they've got no one watching it unless you're waiting on SIMSY. You can see in the corner, the lean is there. Doesn't have his gun out.
No, sees him easy. Easy SIMSY flush this time. NELLOZ having a cracking game. 5 kills and counting so far. Yannis finds Lynxy in the top there. They're both pretty much taking each other down to about 5 or 6 hit points as mxey tries to creep through the smoke. Team Liquid backing away in the fire in the picture-in-picture there. But mxey is the man trying to find them in the blue. As soon as he comes out of his smoke cloud, he might get a really good angle. He knows he's around the back. NELLOZ finally goes down. Caldermenta will be the man that flushes him out. And Razor Edge get another. Yannis, the last man, in the smoke by the tree.
He has to be quick as well. There was no helmet on that player on the side. So if he wants to check the body boxes, yes, the blue is just out of the way. Notice that Lynxy hasn't healed once. He actually sat back for a while there, I believe, and just kept a whole overwatch on the entire fight. Well, I mean, they've got body boxes now, so they can kind of work off the back of that. Dive straight to TSM should a grenade come rocking and rolling their way.
NOOKIE sees them. Just a little peek. The problem is, so what you may have been noticing, the keen-eyed observers will have seen a lot of FaZe kills. I've been seeing a lot of FaZe in the kill feed, collecting shots, knocks, everything. ENCE were pretty much picked apart by them. And as you mentioned, right from Circle 1, this road is a potential point where FaZe were, and looking like it will be in and around there. Fuzz has gone over the road to give himself the perfect position, but it's all happening on the east here with CrowCrowd looking for GamerLegion, and don't discount Razor Edge. Look, they're about to come over the hill.
X and Bjorn have to work together here to lock down individuals. They do. But as soon as the shots come a-ringing, Raise Your Edge steps up and says, all right, well, we'll get involved in this one. That's a
double.
A lot of damage done off the back of the grenade. Doozy then, is it Doozy? Doozy does get involved. BestOlotch as well. So Na'Vi open up fire onto the back of CrowCrowd. Now remember, the people that will benefit from this at TSM, these are teams that essentially are pinning them inside a ditch from above. The more CrowCrowd members that die, the longer they can stay alive.
And you can see why everybody wanted the eastern side rather than the west. The western side is definitely a lot lower and flatter, so anybody that controls the hillsides, which is what Na'Vi are trying to do at the moment with Raise Your Edge, they will have an overlook position on the Desperados and N47. T-Bone looks like he's going to bleed out. Bandage is not going to work. Off he goes. 7th place for them. Desperados are back on their way, and now they're looking to reposition. But Na'Vi, they've done well to collect 6 kills out of this, because honestly, they didn't have a great deal of options open to them. Raise Your Edge still with 3 alive. Remember, SIMSY was flushed, but CrowCrowd down to 1. FaZe, of course, with 4 on their feet, sitting pretty down that south side of the circle. While TSM, I'm surprised that TSM is still alive, actually. There have been multiple times where it looked like they were about to die.
Desperados have still got Calvin and Ultra on the feet. If they have long-range weapons and the scopes to go with them, they could pick up a few frags here. From that position, it's elevated. It'll give them line of sight and all the teams
it's below, though, isn't it? It's below where
towards them.
As soon as Raise Your Edge or Na'Vi get forward, they're going to have an overhead position on them. Yeah, and you can see it now.
It depends with the circle, though. The circle goes that way towards them, which it doesn't. No. It centralizes. Fuzzface is laughing. Yes, he's only a single player, but he can hold them and stop them advancing further. The vehicle is smoking for TSM, otherwise they may have been able to essentially move it into a ditch location and use it for cover.
No, it's about even. It's about even. The two positions. And Menox trying to reposition.
Well, this is how they get across
out
the
instantly.
road, right?
Lixie with a quick reply. 1 man standing. BestOlotch trying to flush them out. The nades are coming. If that finds its target, that could be a quick double, but it's a bit too far over to the left. Desperados are making their move. They've gone across the road. Good play from Desperados, reading the fight on the hills and making that as their opportunity to go for it. TomiL's the last man to come across, and that's going to be 3 Desperados players on the northern side of the circle that can then sweep around behind these guys. So while this fight is going to get drawn out and take longer, Desperados are going to look to benefit.
And it is Ultra and Calvin that have gone together. It is your marksman. Put TomiL at the back lines to maybe clean up with an assault rifle for any players that want to work down. But you know what? They're working up the hill. They're going towards this fight. They want to get involved. This could be fun.
And they do catch a doozy in the backside, and now they're turning on to Raise Your Edge. They're going to try and draw back away from this one. They realize the fight is finished, so the engagement is over. Tim is about to find Coldamenta. He's got a couple of nades. Well, a single nade and a smoke. Towards Coldamenta, not going to work out for him. FaZe Clan have used this opportunity to go central point on this circle, but they are downhill, so this is all playing out with really very little vision for FaZe. Not too sure what ubah sees, but he's shooting off of the distance. I don't know what he was aiming at. Just sort of saying, hey, I'm the highest killer in the game. Just a single point for FaZe, a single kill. That's all they've had. They had so many knocks. They must have had so many kills stolen away from them.
Clean move from Raise Your Edge. All 3 players push in one go. That's his bopping around in a ghillie suit. Not sure what other weapon he got off the back of that. I'm seeing the SLR currently in hand. Oh, it looks like the 249. He may have given it to ubah. Fair play. They'll still be able to have the level 3 gear, which will do them well. FaZe Clan, central of circle. 2 teams encroaching on their position. The only thing that they need to be aware of is they don't take too many fights on too many fronts. This is where things could fall apart for FaZe if they get picked apart from 2 different angles and they can't respond to it with the manpower.
This would be a very impressive triple for FaZe. They've won the first game of the day so far on both Friday and Saturday. If they could complete the hat-trick
249, here we
Sunday.
go.
Yeah, ubah with a 249.
He says, you know what,
he's
let's
up
just
close as well. Fuzz has got the knock, he might go for it.
Yeah,
He's got to worry about Raise Your Edge, though, that's the problem.
That could be the go signal here. He is creeping towards them and they're committing to the res as well. His teammates are keeping an eye line on what's going on uphill, and that's fine. They're at the foot of the hill.
He doesn't need to push, though. That's it. He just
needs to hold it because they have to come to him. They're outside the circle. He is a bouncer. He's a bodyguard at the moment. No matter, as soon as you come through there, you're all is. You're going to be open and exposed to that 249, and it completely and utterly shreds you. With no cover, I mean, he's a damn good player. Been able to control that and just point and click. He could mow all 3 down here quite easily.
They're moving. Let's see if he peeks out. There it is. There's the peek. So he gives his position away. Doesn't manage to connect, but Coldamenta may well do. He's looking at an off angle on towards them. three-way battle. FaZe with the numbers advantage, but mxey and Desperados still with 3 alive. No initial connections. As soon as one of these gets a knock, that's going to be the go sign for both teams. Coldimenta with 5 kills so far.
If I were Desperados, that I took all 3 players, just committed this to mxey and continue pushing. You need to clear this backside before you advance forward. The fact that you've been held now.
It's an open run though, they can't.
I don't know. I mean, it's more than what they can do against FaZe because FaZe have got 4 players staring at them.
Look at FaZe's flank. Look at FaZe's flank. Aitzy and Fuzzface are coming around. So ubah's holding off, but look at this. Look at the minimap. You can see Aitzy and Fuzzface are about to come around the left side of that shack. Fuzz goes for the spray. ubah pops out. Doesn't get the knock, but mxey's there with Aitzy to manage to sweep up. Now, mxey are going to try and benefit from this one. Desperados are gone. They're trying to find mxey down low. He's the holding, the pivotal man, while FaZe just recover, get themselves back on their feet, their meds. And now mxey, they have to capitalize in this one with just TomiL alive as well to cause problems in the back lines. ubah speaks. So he's actually looking down. He's looking down at mxey, not looking towards them, and TomiL will catch him in the back.
The problem is that mxey were damaged earlier on, so this could be the go sign for mxey. You know what? They're all committed to the other side. Let's just get stuck in and try and break them while they're distracted, and that's exactly what's happening. If they can take down mxey,
oh, Aitzy's going to just get a massive flank.
They can essentially regroup themselves.
Simply go left. Coldimenta found. That gives the information to mxey. Lynx is about to come over the brow of the hill. He's got a nade in hand. It should be an easy takedown, but it's going to get quickly answered. miikaz and Lynxy, the last 2 standing, they're going to try and risk it. Coldimenta, no, he just has to simply smoke his run. Oof. He catches mxey off. Lynxy's going off
Big
here.
Kill.
A massive day for mxey possibly here. Can they start with a win? It would absolutely buffer out everything that they've had going against them as they're making the move. They're pushing for Fuzz. They're going to come straight across the side. miikaz is there, Swede on Swede, looking to see who can come out on top. He's a happy-go-lucky man, and this will put a real big smile in his face. And Lynxy delivers for mxey. 15-kill game. That just decimates all the points they've had in the last 2 days. They know they still have it, and that is going to put a big smile on their faces and an instant cough from mxey.
I like the fact that they didn't give FaZe any time to get their players back on their feet because honestly they had nothing left to play with. Lynxy had no health, probably about 10% HP, and his player on his right-hand side had no helmet.
And it was TomiL.
It was a do-or-die scenario.
I think they thought they basically finished Desperados off because once it happened, they were down to 8 players in server, so they probably thought, right, it's a 4-on-4, let's look towards mxey, and then TomiL popped back up, caught ubah off, and it basically disrupted the whole play because they were back in recover mode. Very nicely done, and great reactions. And mxey, bear in mind, obviously they came through that absolute cluster, all on the hills, taking names, taking kills.
It's a good start.
15 kills, let's see what Parler's got with the boys.
Thank you, D-Man, appreciate that. Raise your edge. Guys, it's been a bit of a struggle the last couple of days. What's been happening?
Yeah, I mean, I can say it's been pretty rough, but I mean, Friday we just weren't focused that day. We came into it all wrong. Like, we weren't sticking to our game plan. And I think Saturday, again, we just rushed things. And we had a big talk, like, this morning before we came to the venue. And I think we just all agreed on some things and just said, like, we just need to be more confident. And we know we can, like, beat any team here. We can kill any team here if we have a team fight. And that's what we did in this game. We just pushed everything. And,
mxey, were those the main discussions coming into today, that you guys needed to be more confident, or was anything else mentioned as well?
I mean, yeah, it was all about confidence. We know that we're a really strong team when it comes to fighting, and we know that as long as we get into a position where we can move on teams by foot and just take fights, we can basically win every game because, like, we're all individually really skilled players, and as long as we have the confidence with us and everyone is, like, decisive in their calls and we work together, yeah, we can beat any team here.
Are you still functioning in terms of flat leadership, no specific IGLs?
I mean, yeah, this game, we had a rough week, especially with that, but this game, everyone was doing great calls, everyone just said push when we needed to, everyone was making great calls, so this game worked out really good.
Going back to your point about big kills and doing the damage and individual skill, 6 kills apiece for Coldimenta and Lynxy. Talk to me about the end of the game.
The end of the game was really, really hectic. Like, really hectic. I don't think I've been in a more hectic ending to PEL. I think miikaz and me both didn't have a helmet, didn't have a vest, but we just kept pushing. Like, we didn't let it stop us. You know, as they were saying, like, it's all confidence. Like, we were peaking even without helmets, even without vests, and we were making sure that we just took the fights because it's not worth just sitting there hoping we get an extra placement point, even if we're bare bones.
cold at the end there. You just got bested by Aitzy, but you were playing pretty sick before then and around those moments. How was it all going for you?
It was really good. It felt really good. Like it felt like every team we were fighting against, we were just over them. So yeah, nice.
Nice indeed. Congratulations to Razor-Edge. They stopped FaZe getting their 3rd in a row first chicken of the day. These are the men who have taken it. Let's head back to the desk.
A lot of energy from the boys there from Razor-Edge as they're able to take the first chicken dinner of the day in banging fashion as well, with that 15 kills coming in for them here on Miramar. Joining me, Froz, Avenger, gentlemen, that was quite the shift for Razor-Edge relative to the rest of the week.
It was a win-win situation no matter what for the viewers out there as well. Either we're going to have a win every day from FaZe, 3 back-to-back of the first game of the day, all Razor-Edge, they're going to come back or make a momentum push back into at least stepping out from the 11 points they only accrued from the last 10 games.
From 11 points earlier, now 25 in one game.
Not bad.
That's not bad at all. But what I liked from the end game there, what we saw there, was that Razor-Edge and DESPERADO basically worked together against FaZe Clan because they knew that FaZe, they had the upper hand being down there. They were basically holding the whole center of the circle. And DESPERADO and Razor-Edge, they both needed to fight FaZe.
Yes.
No one would win without fighting them. And they were basically just working together, making sure, all right, we break down FaZe together. That's how we're going to win the game.
You can also see it was, in terms of control and map awareness and map control, FaZe had the way upper hand here.
Oh, yeah.
They should have waited a little bit, but they were, I don't know if it was greed or what it was, but if they would have waited a little bit, the zone would actually have forced a fight between DESPERADOs and Razor-Edge earlier. And FaZe Clan would have the other hand because they had the last kind of ridge in where DESPERADOs and Razor-Edge would have to move. But the fight started way earlier.
I mean, even from a very early point, Avenger, in this game, you felt that FaZe had a prime compound to be able to play that circle.
Like, I would have probably, when there was about 10 to 12 teams left, I would probably have screamed, they're going to get top 3 in this game.
Bold prediction.
Yeah, bold prediction right there. No, obviously, we've seen endings close around to this compound before. Because of the settings and how they work, FaZe Clan was already there. They were aware. They were looting in Montenegro, so they were ready for this.
What we call it?
Huh?
No, sorry.
They were playing this overall very well. But here in the end, Aitzy's this push here, nice to get DESPERADOs finished off, but they basically opened him to so much. And lxey really played that well and pushed up and got 2 really good engagement on that.
Oh, look at that. Very elated with that victory there, Razor-Edge. And it's got to feel very good, like a monkey off their back there when it comes to the victory. Let's take a look at the points coming in. 0 points for Reciprocity, Pittsburgh Knights, StarLadder and NIP, unfortunately for them. So quite top heavy when it comes to what we're going to be seeing on the 1 through 8. Team Liquid only 2 points for them. We had that tantalizing fight between Razor-Edge and Team Liquid earlier on in the game. And Razor-Edge was able to win it out with 25 points up at the top, 15 kills.
And what's really interesting from this as well is, even though that Razor-Edge, they managed to win this game, they are still dead last overall from the week. They're 36 points overall from the week. The next one is GamerLegion with 40, Liquid with 40, 7 with 45. So even though they had a really fantastic game like here, they need to step it up for the rest of the week to get back into the middle pack and to kind of regain control of the kind of contest for the top 8.
That was very informative, but you delivered it in such a deadpan way. I'm like, wow, keep putting those nails in that coffin, my friend. Great game. Still dead last.
I got one for you. Still, with this 25-point win here, they got 6 wins now in the bag, and they're still on 11th place overall.
That's another nail in the coffin right there. That was a pretty big one.
That's the last one. That's the last one, okay?
That's the thanks you get, Oliver, for paying a dinner for Frost.
Wow.
Unfortunate. No, jokes aside, I want to take some parts away from the interview right there, right? Because obviously, they're one of the only teams to have a very, very flat leadership structure. And I think that's what has been hurting them for this week. And I even said that in the interview and what we were looking out for this week. That they have a flat leadership structure like they do. Nobody's making the important macro calls in the first 3 circles. And I was hoping to see either Sixy, lxey, or any other guys kind of step up and make sure that they get into that position that they're able to play on foot from. Because as you see here, once they get boots on the ground and they start moving and pushing as a team together without vehicles, that really works, and they're doing it really, really well. And I want to see that continue.
I mean, talking about IGLing, we know that basically you usually have one IGL in the team that will do all the calls and so on.
Sure.
But we see more and more often nowadays that the teams will have 2 different IGLs, one for macro calls, one for micro calls.
Exactly.
And this is what Raceyard is lacking right now. They need someone to at least take the macro calls, make sure the early rotations, which are super important that you get on point. If you get those on point, you're going to be so much better in for the late game.
Other thoughts, Mike, before we go?
Yeah, but as we heard it from the coach interview as well, we see the same from other teams as well.
Yeah, yeah.
But I would say the most important is the macro. Having one that can call that. Once you get on your kind of the boots on the ground, everybody needs to be able to kind of give the information, because it might only be one player that this information is available to. So he needs to be able to make a call based on the information that he see. It could be, you know, TSM was one of the points, right? Gustav is very much an IGL, been doing it since the start. He does the majority of the macro, but when you come kind of boots on the ground and you start doing foot pushes, Michael is very, very vocal, and he sees information, and they make sure that everything is kind of collected there.
A lot of boots on the ground, my friend.
You like the boots on the ground?
A lot of boots on the ground.
Yeah, that's a good reference.
Not jumping around.
No, just stay put.
Run with the boots on the ground.
Of course, you can be involved at home as well with the hashtag AskPEL, so make sure to be tweeting at us with that. Any questions that you want to maybe ask why these gentlemen have little horses on their shirts, for example, would be something useful as well. For now, we're going to go to a short break, ladies and gentlemen, and when we return, we're going to have one more map of Miramar. But before we do that, it's time for Frost's Giant Tips